you. It's a pleasure, and I'm grateful that God has given us the opportunity to stand before you. We say the greatness of great people is in their stories, right? You really cannot know how to navigate life sometimes until you listen to some people. Before I'll tell you my story, when I was preparing, I was thinking it's something that you need to have a slide so that it can be structured somehow. But I've seen that the speakers who have come before me, they've spoken from their hearts, and I think it's better that way. So that will give you raw, and then you will learn your lessons from it. But first, thank you to Wise Man. He's not seated, but I'm grateful for having me. Thank you, God bless you. And to all the speakers who have spoken before me, it's actually difficult to tell something different because you will just find out that the stories are similar. I mean, it's about what has happened to you, and you are not the only person that thing has happened to. It has happened to so many people, and wherever you are in your journey of life today, I want you to know that you can be successful. You can be successful. So I'm going to be a little bit structured in order to help you to possibly take away some things. So if you look at the profile that you read, I'm going to be talking about the power of vision, power of focus, and resilience. I was born into a family where my dad had 4 wives. A polygamous family. But the story about him is that I did not live with any of the wives. I lived with him and my mom all my life. But the truth is that he had the wives. And he's a man who will give birth to you, and your mom must take care of you. I think it's just the right place to start. So, I don't know if I have that kind of person. It is a responsibility of your mother to take care of you. Or you can donate you to your mother, and then your mother will take care of you. Right, so, it's not okay to talk ill of your dad, right? But he was very tough. He was very tough. So, but for my mother, we are 7. And I happen to be the second to the last. Who has 7 children with little business. You can begin to think of how difficult life can be for those children. So it was critical to him. He has his own house. I think our house is about 6 rooms. And then 4 of those rooms were rented out. No, 3 were rented out. My dad was living in one and a sitting room, and then the rest of us, my siblings, were living with my mom in that one room. No matter what life throws at you, what really matters is what you are doing with what life is throwing at you. No matter the challenges that you face in life, what is important is how you take opportunity out of the challenges. I'm not a storyteller like a writer, but just listen, maybe you will learn. Now, so I grew up in a way that you have to sleep in the mat, and then maybe your mom and 2 of your sisters are going to sleep in maybe 4.5, that kind of bed. About 3 or 4 of you, and the rest of you will just find your way. So, be big brilliant. I'm not going to consider myself that I was brilliant, but I never repeated any class. And I had one of the best results in my junior YEC and in my senior YEC, at least in my secondary school. But after I finished my secondary school, it was really pretty difficult to move forward. I wanted to study medicine. For many of you who study science in secondary school, that's almost a given. You want to be a medical doctor. I mean, if it's not in your mind, people around you will tell you that that's what you should study. So I started writing JAM, first JAM, second JAM, third JAM, 5th JAM, and JAM was just jamming me. I could not actually get admission to study medicine. So a friend of mine that happened to be our senior prefect in secondary school had to come on and say, "Oluyinka, what are you still doing?" I remember when we were to write our physics, we were the one who taught me, I can't remember, there's this still law, it's been a long while, that we were one that taught me that calculation, and thankfully it came out. what are you still doing? So I know somebody in Kwara State Polytechnic. Would you go to Polytechnic? So that's how I found myself. I studied civil engineering Polytechnic. And before I could finish my MD, you know, Polytechnic is OND 2 years, and your HND will be 2 years. My mom was already telling anybody that would listen and talk to me, at least tell him that this is how best I can go. I have a younger sister. So your younger sister, so by then, don't forget that I told you, it took me about 5 years before I could even go to Polytechnic. So my younger sister already got admission. So I was just 1 year ahead of my younger sister. Let me tell him that I want to focus on his younger sister. He's a man, he should fend for himself. So after OND, I started business. But before I go, see, while going up, I know that poverty is a cause. And if it has to be broken, it starts from me. So the vision to make it, even as early as my primary 6, has been there. I started my first business unofficially in primary 6. I was just about 10, 11 years old. I would buy, my mom used to sell in Bodija market. Anybody that knows about that will know Bodija market. Not so much a business, big business, but when, so I will tell mommy, when you are coming back, you know, the raw epa, I will cook epa, and I will walk it in the market in the Ibadan, like Oji. I don't even know this from Ibadan, you know where I'm talking about. And then at some point, my mom will cry and shout, who is sending you to do that? But you see, what I found out is that in me is that ability to do business. It was already there. So it was actually a misfit for me to think that studying medicine would have worked. So my first lesson that I will say is this: in your journey in life, one of the first blessings that the Lord will give to you is to find the right people around you who can support what you carry and amplify it. I was there. I told you I wasted 5 years of my life. I had the result. I had the ability. My first jam at 201, I can't forget, 1993. 201. It was enough to have gone to study maybe a business management in any school. But it was science. I wanted to do science. So the first thing, because I've seen a lot of young people here, see, mentoring is an opportunity for you to ride upon the shoulders of giants. That is the number one thing. I did not have anybody who could help me to navigate that. Sometimes in our days, there's no chassis water there. It's nylon water. You remember that time when you buy nylon, then you will buy ice block, and then you will put water. We have tap water. Those days in your state, you put water and tie it and put ice block in the water in the bowl. You go and walk. Around that time that I was in PS1, I was also doing that. I wasn't doing it to feed my family. I was doing it because there is something in me that just want to make money. I've never been hiding all my life. I was talking to a young guy. I said, I'm in my late 40s, right? Well, I said, all my life, there has never been any time that I don't have anything to do. As I go on, you will hear some of the stories of it. So, I understand vision to make it, vision to abolish poverty. We were poor. Oh, my mom was very hardworking. We eat 3 square meals, right? But the environment was not good. My dad built his own house. But I just told you now, I have about 6, 7 of my siblings in one room, even though the man was using one room and a planner to himself. So life was hard. Then after my polytechnic, I had to start a business. I started a business center in the Polytechnic of Ibadan. I was given a place in the Department of Mass Communication, and I was photocopying, and I would do projects for people. And after some time, I decided to move to Lagos because I have this friend that when I was finishing secondary school, we finished together, and then his own brother was working with Motorola in Lagos, and then he already suddenly become a big guy that he will pass the tie that his brother gave him to me. that my brother give me this, you can take out of this, you will pass the shoes to me. That's how I was living. And then you will not know where we're getting all of those things. So at a time, even before I went to the Polytechnic of Ibadan, 1994, I was tired. I didn't just know what to do. So I came to Lagos briefly. And so it's part of my story. I did conductor one day, just one day. But I was beaten that one day. That was the reason I did not go back the second day. And then after I did that conductor, I went to Ijora. Ijora back there where they send this cold room. I will help people to carry fish from the cold room to those sellers. Now, there is something common in all of these things that I'm telling you. I can't beg. It is one thing in my life. I can never beg anybody. You can see his pride. You may say his pride. But I don't want to beg. I would rather do something awkward. I will just make sure that I make money. That period, a little money I gathered in that period was part of what I actually used for my first school fees in the Polytechnic. Because I'm speaking from my heart, I'm going to be moving back and forth for you to get some of those things. So I went back to the Polytechnic, and that was it. After my Polytechnic ended, I told you my mom said, no more school fees. For a period of time in Lagos, when I actually landed in Lagos, my friend was to take me in so that I can stay with him. He was staying with his own elder brother. But amazingly, he did not tell his brother that I was coming. So when I landed in Lagos, his brother said, there's no place for me. I don't know anybody in Lagos. I had to find a church, and I slept in that church for about 2 weeks. The church that does not have window or door. Just like the writer said. He said, your story is in the beholder, right? Am I quoting you right? So it's you that knows how much it pays. So for 2 weeks, I left my parents, and mind you, there is no GSM. My mom cannot reach me. My brothers cannot reach me. My sister cannot reach me. They don't even know my whereabouts. But as young as I was that time, there is something in me that is saying that success is achievable. There's a greatness that I have seen. And then after some times, I will go to site work. I will do some work here and there. Long story short, I got a job in Lagos with Motorola. And then in 2003, I got married. 2001, I got a job with Motorola. Don't forget, I told you that a friend of mine has a brother who is working in Motorola. So he helped me. And then when he was to start his own company that we call Total Telecom, a major distributor to Motorola, he took me. I was his first time. And then we started our company in no time. And then, but over time, because of the kind of a person that I am, my friend became jealous of me. Why? Because his brother is paying more attention on me than him. He feels that you're not productive. In fact, he will use me to abuse his younger brother. So you don't get sense. Is this one not your friend? So, but because I did not know how to navigate that, my friend became, I don't want to talk ill of him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So something that I did not do, we will go to his brother. Long story short. Now, I was kicked out of that company. And it was not kicked, I was advised to resign. You know, that kind of level. Resign. Whatever that is happening to you in life, whatever that is happening to you in life, they will all work together for your good if you understand how life works. See, life is a journey that will include smooth ride, it will include bends, it will include hold-ups, and sometimes it will include go-slows. They are all that you need to navigate your life to the destination that you have. So, after I was kicked out, I started my own company. So my first company, I began it in 2003. It's called Concise Communication Company. Of course, like I said to you, I was working in Motorola. So I started a telecom company. And we were doing well. By the time I was 27, I was already a millionaire. I mean, 3-time millionaire. As at that time, I was already a millionaire. I need to rush now. But because I don't have a mentor, one of the things you need in life is somebody must watch your back. There must be somebody that must call you to order. No matter how big you think you have grown, and no one can talk to you, you are heading to destruction. No structure, and then before you know what happens, at about 2013, the product we were selling became obsolete. So then I was out of business. The question is, where are all the monies that I made? No structure. I was doing business center. Then internet was not this popular. You know those business centers that you have like a 20 system, and then people will come in and browse. How many of us can relate? I was doing that. I employed the manager, and the manager will make money and pocket the money, and then they will tell you story because I was busy doing other things. Eventually, I gave one of those 20 systems out. Just gave it to people. Now, by 2016, this is where it gets interesting. Listen to me. I had no job. I was married. I had 2 children. Right? We had no accommodation anymore. By 2016. At that time, if you know Foursquare Camp, how many of you know Foursquare Camp? Somewhere around Orisumbari. You didn't. That's where I was living. My wife had a friend that was using a place for a maternity home. You know these quack nurses, apologies, that deliver babies, right? She has one small room like that, and that's where my 2 children and my wife were living. But you see, in all of that, I did not forget where I was going. I knew that I already got to a spot in my life that I'm having no doubt. But I have a destination. I've taken off, and I know that I must get there. When Samuel was doing his right, then there was a way of divine resilience. If you will be successful, young people, many of you are young. Life is not as simple as you think it is. There are things that you must build if you are going to be successful. In all of that, I joined a company on the internet. In fact, when I went to Dr. Clement, I wasn't looking for a job. So we had a program in church, and he heard me speaking. And then after church, we got connected, we were talking. And then when we started talking, I just said, can you come and see me? Get me his card. I was looking for someone that would borrow me money because as of 2016, I did a job with Jonathan administration, and I was expecting about 10 million naira. You know, that transition from Jonathan to, I did a job with NEPA, I supplied them 2-way radio. So we've done all that we needed to do. I was waiting for the money. So I went to him, sir, I just need you to borrow me money, 400K. I'm living now at Foursquare Camp. This is where my family is. I just want you to borrow me money. Let me get accommodation for them. And then we got talking. I did not know what he saw. And then he said, can you come and work with us? I said, no, I have my company. Long story short, I started that business, started that work without any negotiation for salary. I just came. And at the end of that month, I remember I was paying 40,000 naira. Listen, the last guy that I sacked when I was folding up the company, I think I was paying about 55,000-60,000 naira. The least of my own employee. See, if you're going to make it in life, bury your pride. Pride is one of the reasons why many of you have not gone ahead. Race of life is not about age, who comes first. It's about what you want to get. So, by 2013, I was already doing real estate. But I've not done a kind of a structured real estate like Mr. Oladipupo was doing. So, I was paying somebody 60,000 naira, but then I needed to reinvent myself, and then I started earning. How much did I tell you I was earning? But I took it. When I got to my wife, I said, okay, so what are you going to do with this now? I said, it's another starting point. What was keeping me going? I had a vision. And I was focused. I have a vision. I have seen something that many people may not see. I have seen that I am wealthy. So the real life you're going to live is the one you live from your Your circumstances should not divine you. What you are facing now should not divine you. What should divine you is what have you seen? Can you see that you are bigger, you are better than this? If you can see that, it will turn out like that. Long story short, my intention when I had that session with Oluyinka Clement was that just give me 1 year, I want to stabilize myself. As at that time, Pastor Vic, I was still thinking I would get my 10 million naira back. So I was just saying, let me buy time. And so that I can stabilize family while we keep pursuing the money. Till today I have not gotten that money. I don't know whether I will get it in heaven if they are paying back. Right? I said 1 year, but because I contributed value, after my 1 year, he begged me for another 1 year. So stay with us. So when I joined the company, I was heading the marketing and sales, and I was heading the operation. And that's what brought us to where we are today. I run a real estate firm now that is a multi-million dollars firm. That was the beginning of the journey. I'm going to round up like this. There is no success without vision. In fact, if you get it by chance, you will lose it by chance. That's how I lost the first money I made early in my life. I was 27 when I told you that I made my first million. I was not giving. I told you that my background was very poor. But by 27, I could afford just anything. In fact, my children were going to the best school in the area we were living. But I lost it because I had vision. Number two, if you have vision and you lack focus, you will still not realize the vision. Number three, no matter what life throws at you, be resilient. Ability to stay put or start all over when there is need for it. I will see you at the top. God bless you.